Welcome to 5 Good Minutes.
You're listening to today's inspirational message on the book of 1 Thessalonians
with Dan Irvin.
Today I want to talk about verse 10 for a moment in chapter 1. To wait for his Son from heaven, whom he raised from the dead, Jesus, who rescues us from the coming wrath. You know, when we think about this idea of waiting, we all wait in our lives. We wait for success to happen. We wait for relationships to pan out. Wait for love in our life. Waiting for relief from maybe the end of a long day or week, or just a period of suffering, or waiting through a season of grief or anxiety. You know, waiting, it shapes us in many ways. And if what we're waiting for is uncertain, like the things I just mentioned, it can leave us with anxious moments, fearful moments. You know, money, relationships, even good health, it can all be taken from us at any moment. And when our future rests on these fragile things, I think there can be a state of uneasiness that we live with. Well, Paul writes here, and he's talking about a waiting that is different, waiting for something different, or rather for someone that's different, waiting on Jesus. Paul says when he returns, he will do something remarkable. He will rescue us from the coming wrath. What is this wrath that Paul is talking about? The phrase coming wrath, it's not necessarily one that's comfortable. Perhaps you even read parts like this in the Bible and you say, I'm going to skip this part. I don't think many of us like to think about God's wrath very much, but Paul speaks of it in this way as a reality. And I think if we ignore it, we can't fully understand the good news of the gospel. We can't fully understand who God is. You see, God's wrath, it's not like human anger. It's not irrational, impulsive, vengeful. It is his just and necessary response to evil. A God who would never bring justice could not be a loving God, because he would look at the wrong in the world and people being mistreated, and he would just turn his back and do nothing. That's not a loving God. If God turned this way, a blind eye to violence and rebellion and oppression and all these things, he would be no better than a corrupt judge who lets criminals walk the streets. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Paul says that this wrath is coming. It's not just about what has happened in the past. You know, we think about the great flood in Genesis with Noah, or it's not only about the present wrath, like the brokenness we see in the world, but he's writing about a future wrath, a day when Jesus will return. He will set everything right. Justice will be done. Evil will be judged. No sin will be left unaccounted for. Now, just imagine for a moment you're standing in the middle of a forest and you see a wildfire raging around you. The fire is moving towards you. You could run, but you can't possibly outrun this wildfire that's coming for you. But then you see something. You see a patch of ground in the distance that has already been burned up by this fire. That fire has already passed over this spot, already scorched this earth, and there's nothing left to burn. If you stand in this spot, you could be safe. The fire cannot touch you here. And this is, in a sense, what Jesus has done for us on the cross. He took the wrath of God upon himself. The judgment that should have fallen on us fell on him. And now if we stand in him, if we place our trust in him, the wrath cannot touch us. We are safe. We have been rescued from this. You know, Paul doesn't say the Thessalonians have escaped the coming wrath by being good people. He doesn't say you have saved yourself by trying hard enough. He says that Jesus has done the rescuing. The word implies here that we were helpless, in need of rescue. We couldn't save ourselves. We were drowning and needed someone to pull us out of the pit. And this is exactly what God has done. The gospel is not about at all becoming a better person, but it's about understanding that Jesus rescued us. Are you waiting today? What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for love, success to be your ultimate thing? As we wait for those things, they will fail us. They can't hold up the weight of our hope. But if we're waiting for Jesus, you're waiting for the one who has already secured our future. You're waiting for the one who has already taken judgment in our place. You're waiting for the one who will return, not to destroy us, but to bring us home safely. Wait for Jesus, trust in him, because when the day comes, Jesus will be our refuge, and in him, only in him, will we find true safety and true rest.
Thanks for joining us here today. There's a lot of great content to explore on Orchard Hill Plus and on the Orchard Hill main feed from the weekend. Have a great day.